Periscope's up, Facebook's up. YouTube's up. Twitch should be up any second, and we'll get it going here.
All right.
Check. Yeah, my audio's coming in loud and clear. Twitch should be any second now. Any second now.
Mm-hmm.
Twitch, my patience is wearing thin today. We really need you to get up and going here.
Quicker than the Magic.
They're still trying to get it going. They're in the locker room throwing balls of paper in the wastebasket, and they can't make a shot. So, all right, we ready?
Yeah.
Right. What's going on, Orlando Magic fans? You guys are back with the Six Man Show. It is August 22nd, 2020. Jonathan Osborne here. I am here, as always, joined by my co-host, Luke Sylvia. Luke, how are we doing? And you don't even have to answer that, really, because I know.
Yeah. I mean, whew.
Not great.
You lose by 14. It felt like you lost by 50. Somehow, well, I know how. Game 2 felt closer, and the end result was further apart at 15 point loss, and today was 14. So, scoreboard does not reflect just how bad that game was.
Nope. Not at all. So once again, first quarter, Magic down by 8. And then proceed to get outscored by 19 points in the second quarter. So again,
can't do that.
Not, you cannot do that. Man. Hey, it was all
get outscored
good just like 5 days ago.
Yeah, you get outscored by 19 and a quarter, and a quarter, by the way, where you scored just 20. So never good when those numbers are close to each other. If the bright spot, if there's any, is the second half, the Magic outscored both quarters and won the second half.
I feel like that has more to do with the fact the Bucks were like, we got this in the bag. I'm not really giving us too much credit for that second half.
Specifically the third quarter, we scored 5 more points. Beginning of the first 4 minutes, you kind of, you create some closeness there, separate the gap. I think they were down 17 or something like that, or 15 with like 8 minutes to go, 7:30 to go in the game. And then, they realize, oh man, they're starting to get some confidence once Orlando gets within 12, and then good night. You've got Lopez hitting corner threes again late in the game to kind of make that. I think that was again kind of like in game 2. Lopez hits that 3 in the corner, and you're like, oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of back and forth. There's no doubt about it. The team in the second half loves to show fight. First quarter, man, and the second quarter, just that whole first half, that's when you've got to show that fight. It's too little, too late in that second half.
I got to give it to this team. As much as they frustrate me, as much as they annoy me at times and disappoint me just over and over and over again, this team never, ever, ever gives up. Like, it's very rare, like few and far between, 82 regular game season and then whatever this series is going to end up being, 5 or 6 games, or I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna next game, but
it's gonna be 5.
Well, I'm hoping that it's not the case. But what I'm trying to say is, like, it's a very rare occasion where you feel like the Magic let go of the rope. Like, they always try to fight to get back into the game. They make it respectable, and then kind of the other team will extend the lead. If the Magic are going to end up losing that game. But yeah, you can't have first halves like this. And I'll tell you, when I knew that this game was over, unfortunately.
Yeah.
When James Ennis was ejected, I knew this game was over. Because at that point, here comes B.J. Johnson, here comes Vic Law. James Ennis has just been doing such a great job. The instances where he guards Giannis and Chris Middleton, and both of those guys in the second half just did whatever they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, and you said you thought you knew it was over when that happened, which obviously that was another great indicator that the game was probably over at that point.
That, Luke, for the people not watching the game, just explain what happened and how ridiculous it was that James and Marvin Williams were ejected. It was just so stupid.
it starts on, I believe, the box out with James Ennis trying to get to Marvin Williams and put a body on him. James Ennis has a slight shove in there, but nothing crazy. Marvin kind of a little bit. Then Marvin gets a little irritated, gets up in Ennis's face, gives him a two-hand shove, then proceeds to grab the collar of Ennis's jersey. Ennis swings, and for the commentator, I mean, for Van Gundy and what's his face, the other commentator today, the other analyst.
I was with Fox Sports Florida, so I even forgot that SVG was calling the game.
Yeah, so he's calling the game, and they're entertaining the thought that Ennis even threw a punch, which is hilarious. You clearly take one look at that. We'd already looked at it a few times at that point, and he was just trying to get him off of him, because someone holds on to you for more than a second. Your instincts kick in, and you just want him to get off you. And that happens. Kind of throws him off. People go down in the process trying to break up the fight. And then, they review it. They give them both technicals. They also issue them both ejections. So I think at that point, you give them their technicals. They're one technical each. They're a wash, and you move on, play the rest of the game. There's no reason. And Stan Van Gundy did say this on the broadcast. There's no reason to throw either of these guys out in a playoff game when the margin is what it was. There was no room for that. Officiating, we saw it the other day with Kristaps Porzingis, which I think there was a better case for Porzingis getting ejected because it was a second technical. But with these guys, man, it just didn't make sense why they were both ejected. I thought it might have been one or the other, or maybe a double technical to wash, whatever. But to throw both of them out, man, and then for the Magic, that's a huge blow. That's a starter. Yeah, he's not incredible, but he's been a really good part of this team during the playoffs, really good energizer for the team, and he gets kicked out, ejected from the game. At that point, it's over. But then the game is kind of when I already had a sense of, and call me a pessimist, whatever. I had some fears about the game. And first, I think it was the first quarter when Vooch misses 5 straight jump shots. Nobody else is converting anything. Magic start to lose it a little bit. Beginning of the game, I mean, for what it's worth, Magic were up 8-7 or something like that to start the game. Vooch hits his first 3 of the game. Okay, let's settle in. Here we go. We're going to have ourselves a close game all game. And you're down 8 or 9 or whatever it was at the end of the first, and then to get outscored 39-20 in the second quarter that was one of the most painful quarters of Magic basketball to watch. It just was not fun all the way around. I thought game 2 wasn't fun.
This was
because of lack of shooting. This was much less fun, and the shooting percentages were up. In fact, from 3, the Magic shot pretty well. I think it was some odd like 40%, 47%, something like that. 47.5, 19 of your 43s. That's fine. That's not where you get killed. The Milwaukee Bucks have 56% from the field goal range, and Giannis, obviously largely to do with Giannis shooting 12 of 14, averaging 30, getting 35, 11, and 7. I mean, what can you say? Giannis, when you cut the deficit to 12 at the end of the game, for a fact Giannis is either going to penetrate and make you pay for it because he's got Evan Fournier guarding him, or someone that is just undermanned and undermatched, or he's going to drive and pass the ball out to the wing for anyone to hit it. The Bucks are on right now, and you awoke them in game 1, kind of like the Magic did with the Raptors last year. But it's taking the Bucks a little longer to settle in. But Jonathan, I feel like the Bucks are officially settled in, and they're here to win out the series.
Well, back to the James Ennis ejection, I just couldn't believe. I tweeted like right before, because I was like, man, like they're not going to eject these guys, but if they do, it would be a much bigger deal for the Magic to lose James Ennis than the Bucks losing Marvin Williams. Obviously, they're a much deeper team. James Ennis is just, unironically, just really important to this team right now. I mean, again, brings great energy, effort, hustle, every single play. But I was just like, they get ejected, and I'm like, oh, my goodness. And then I realized, Mark Davis is the lead official on this game. Anytime I see Scott Foster or Mark Davis, I'm just like, the Magic are really going to be in for a long day, because I don't find them to be very, good officials. But Anyways, yeah, like you said, I mean, yeah, Milwaukee like has woken up. Just looking at the 3-point percentage here, Giannis 2 of 3, go freaking figure. Chris Middleton 3 of 7, Brook Lopez 2 of 4, Bledsoe 2 of 3, Wes Matthews 3 of 6, George Hill 3 of 6. I mean, like, I'm looking at field goal percentage. Anyways, regardless of the fact, I'm looking at CBS. Their box scores are completely trash. I don't know why I keep using these things. Like you're looking at the stats and they're like off center from where the line actually is. But regardless, yeah, just Milwaukee has woken up. They are now playing to the level that we expected them to play. The Magic, I mean, when you get let's look at some stats here. Vucevic 20 points, 5 rebounds. Augustine 24 points. Ross 20 points. You get 44 points off of the bench from DJ and Ross. You need to win that game. No questions asked, no excuses. There's just no room for a loss in that scenario. We get another stinker out of Evan Fournier. Decides to wake up a little bit in the second half. What might be one of Markel's worst games in a Magic uniform. 5 points, 5 assists, 2 of 9 from the floor, 5 turnovers. Eric Bledsoe has done a remarkable job on Fultz, especially the last 2 games. Just kept him uncomfortable, poked the ball out from behind him, kind of letting Markel get past him and just bringing that hand through, poking it loose from behind. And that's another thing. Just 3 turnovers out of Vooch, out of Fournier, 5 turnovers out of Fultz, 3 turnovers out of DJ Augustine. Just the attention to detail compared to Game 1 and Game 2 and Game 3 is just night and day.
I mean, also another part of this, you briefly touched on it with turnovers, but I believe the Magic are 3rd or 4th best in turnover efficiency. And today Milwaukee still has more turnovers. The Magic are still having active hands. That's what kind of day this has been, guys. That's true. So I mean, at points, the Magic still had active hands. You're still forcing 19 turnovers, but you can't have 18 yourself. You're scoring 25 points off turnover. So it's all there, except the attention to detail, like you said. That's how you get into those, anywhere from 18 to 20 to 22 turnovers in a game, where that's very uncharacteristic of the Magic to do. And it stinks, man. And you look at the box score again. You look at this. Vucevic has 3 turnovers, I believe. Evan has 2. Markel has 5. But I would say Vucevic's 3 turnovers were more warranted than Evan's. They both had 3. Than Evan's 3 turnovers. You know why? Because Vucevic at least had 2 assists, to where Evan had 0. So I mean, it is abysmal. I don't look at plus minus very much because obviously you look at this. Vooch, one of our better players today, had a minus 20. That's just how it's going to go sometimes. But Evan Fournier, I mean, contributing nothing, minus 28, worst on the team. That is somewhere where that plus minus stat is true. He was just exceptionally bad today. He's been bad the past couple games as well, but today was just like hard to bear. Especially with the state of everybody else. I mean, like you said, you get DJ and T. Ross to chip in like that, you got to win that game. It stinks. Vucevic finally gets help, and it doesn't matter.
I don't want to keep raking Evan Fournier over the coals here. I mean, I think we should give a little bit of credit to Wesley Matthews. He's really done a great job at just denying the ball to Evan Fournier. But when Evan does get the ball, just making it extremely, extremely difficult for him to do anything. But at the same time, you're one of our best players throughout this year, regardless of what anybody thinks. That's just the facts of it. So much so to the point now we're looking at you and we're like, bro, like this, you are not playing to the standard that you set for the better part of this year. And he's just really letting us down in this series. Back to the attention to detail on things. Mm-hmm. That's what allowed the Magic to win Game 1. Like, forget about the hot shooting or whatever that allowed us basically to like almost blow out the Bucks in Game 1. Even without the hot shooting, the way that we rebounded the ball, the physicality that we played defensively, the way that we took care of the ball offensively, regardless of the hot shooting, would have gave us a chance to win that game. You take away the shooting in Game 1, you still look around and you're like, all right, we still made the game ugly enough to have a shot at the end of that game, regardless of the way that we were playing offensively. And all of that so far has just gone out of the window. You keep turning the ball over. Milwaukee, Giannis just runs down to the other side, dunks in on our whole team, up 15, and is flexing like he's just the coolest dude ever. I don't really want to get into that, but, man, it's just the Magic have to – every single facet of the game they have to play to a extremely high standard for them to have a chance to win these games.
Yeah, no margin, no room for error at all. And this is the last thing I'll say about Evan Fournier. Well, maybe.
No, I can guarantee you that it's not.
Well, for this
maybe
episode.
For this episode.
When you look at a player's regular season averages, your points per game, your assists, especially your points per game, those averages need to go up when you get to the playoffs. That is time where you lock in. You're not pacing yourself anymore. You're locked in and you're looking to get a bucket. You're looking to help your team where you can. And I pulled it up. I mean, this year, obviously, we know Evan Fournier, second leading scorer on the team, averaging 18 a game. And then the playoffs, he's averaging 10.5. Actually, that was after 2 games. So it'll go up a little bit. Regardless, he's not reaching that 18. Last year, he averages 12 a game, where his average for the regular season was 15. So the rule of thumb here is you need to be scoring more than your regular season points per game. You're like I said, you're not pacing yourself for an 82-game season. There's some games you can mentally maybe take off, and then for the playoffs, I get things get tough, but geez.
I would say historically speaking, most players, like, you see the points per game average dip just a little bit, just because the games are more intense. Teams have more time to scout you. By the third, fourth, and fifth game, you know every single thing that another team is going to do. But with that being said, it's really just like Evan, even when he's not forcing things and everything like that, he has a role on this team where he's able to cut off the ball, try to get good cuts going to the rim, or if he's in that high pick and roll with Vooch, trying to draw attention, kick the ball out to someone else. The issue with him is he's leaving his feet every single time he tries to do that, and the Bucks are so good defensively and so long. At that point, you're not kicking it out to anyone. So something in his thinking, his thought process, in these plays where he's driving to the rim, and it's Wesley Matthews, and then it's either Giannis and it's Brook Lopez, closing out, trying to help on him. Then he's just jumping in the air and trying to chuck the ball out to one of these guys on the perimeters, and that's where you're seeing a few of these turnovers come. But like I said, I don't want to spend too much time on Evan Fournier. For me, it's as simple as this: if he's not gone this summer, he's gone by next year's trade deadline. You cannot extend Evan Fournier. If he declines his player option, he's gone. If he declines and wants to re-sign with the Magic, you say no. Like there's no this team just it's time. Like I appreciate you. You're 7-8 years with the franchise. I know it sucks because I know that he is obviously disappointed with himself. I know that he holds himself to a higher standard. I know that he feels like he's trying. But in this instance, it's time for a change at our starting shooting guard position. It's time for a change with our primary perimeter ball handler, in the crunch time. It's just, Evan Fournier, thank you for your service, but either please decline your player option, negotiate a trade with the Orlando Magic, or Jeff and John need to make sure that he's gone come next February. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I am somewhat of a fan of Evan Fournier, right? Like anybody on this team, you put on an Orlando Magic jersey, I want you to do as well as you possibly can. But I just don't see a scenario going forward where Evan is really going to be able to contribute to this team in a fashion that gets them to the next level.
Yeah, and that I kind of want to double back to what I said about players scoring more in the playoffs. I shouldn't have blanket statement it. They should score more in general, like every player. It is the players that, like Vucevic, who have stepped up in the series and scored above their averages. Vucevic scoring 20 points a game is averaging like 30 right now, 28 maybe after today. So, and you've got guys even on the Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler averaging 4 or 5 above his average through 2.5 games right now. So like it's mainly from the from the players that you expect more out of. For your second leading scorer, he absolutely should be scoring more than 18, especially on nights on like game 2 where your team shoots 33% from the field. You should be one of those guys that elevates that field goal percentage. You shouldn't be a guy that tanks it like he did onto game 2. So that's kind of my point with Evan Fournier. I know I said I was done for the episode, but there we go. Now I'm done.
You couldn't help yourself. It was right there
couldn't.
for you. So let's talk a little bit about Markelle, right? Markelle is a guy who we all knew was going to have a good series in order for us to have a chance against the Bucks. And so far, I think he was averaging like 13.5 points per game in the first 2 games before coming into tonight. But really just not, well, today I guess we really should say, but really just not Fultz's night. Again, 5 points, 1 rebound, 5 assists, 2 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 3 from the three-point line. Didn't get to the charity stripe whatsoever. 1 steal, 5 turnovers in 28 minutes tonight. So, I mean, Bledsoe, last year, first team all-defensive NBA. I mean,
yeah,
you could see it from tip in game 2. He's literally inside of Fultz's jersey at all times now.
Yeah, he is what my grandfather used to say when you're defending someone, whether it be football or basketball, it's arm, but it is called getting inside their jockstrap with them.
Whoa.
That is
Whoa,
what he is
Grandpa.
doing. That is
I've
what
heard,
he is
I've heard
doing.
keep your hand in their back pocket, which is a little but getting inside the
No,
jockstrap, that's you're up in there.
You're in there, and that's exactly what he has done. And that has made it hard. I do want to say I'm extremely happy that DJ Augustine decided to show up today. Played much more efficiently.
Cash stuff about DJ in the first half too. Second half was phenomenal, but he still has to like cut out the turnovers.
Yeah. No, I'm absolutely. But there was some improvement there because it couldn't get much worse.
You just got to take and make the shots that he should take and not force things. When he does that, he shoots 8 of 13 and has 24 points.
Right. Yeah. I mean, encouraging stuff from him today. I mean, I'm not saying that we'd win the game today, but we give ourselves a fighting chance of just anyone else steps up. Anyone.
Yep.
Anything. Ennis stays in the game, hits some shots in that second half. You don't know what happens in that second half at that point, but I mean, safe to say that the Bucks still would have won the game just because they are the better team at the end of the day. I'm not going to sit back and act like the Magic are the 1 seed here or that it's a 4-5 matchup. It's absolutely not. And that's also the reality check that Magic fans need to have. I see a lot of Magic fans talking doomsday on Twitter, on Instagram, everywhere. It's not the end of the world, guys. We don't have a lot of our starters. We have a guy that, we got Ennis ejected, J.I. obviously out, Aaron Gordon out. I mean, you have some key guys that were missing. Nothing to really hang your head about, but there still are some critiques that could be made to improve it so these games don't look nearly as bad. But end of the day, it's a 1 versus 8 matchup. They're the best team record-wise in the league. They've got some holes that I'm anticipating people to find those holes as they get further into the postseason, being the Bucks, even next round with the Heat, as the Heat look like they're hitting their stride. But it is what it is. It's a 1 versus 8 matchup, man. That's all it is.
I can't speak for everybody, but I think where the frustration comes, like last year, it was like, okay, game 1. The Magic, just shot the ball really well, especially DJ Augustine. Were able to steal game 1 and then get steamrolled in game 2. And then in game 3, start the game rough. Terrence Ross gets hot in that second half. Last minute there, you have a chance to get a rebound, go down the other end and tie the game. DJ Augustine doesn't box out Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry gets, a rebound, and then basically the game's over at that point. And then the Magic just got creamed the rest of the series where, like we talked about after game 1, this felt different than the game 1 against Toronto where it felt like we were lucky, like we escaped with a win. Like it felt like we took game 1, we earned game 1, and it was like, okay, there's a roadmap to the Magic to, at least pick up another game or 2 in this series, and we're just not seeing the Magic stay true to that. That's what I feel like is the most frustrating part of the series so far. If Vucevic isn't scoring 30 points a game, it's going to be hard for us to win really with the the offensive struggles that we're having. They're all over Gary Clark Jr. now. They're basically in his jockstrap, not letting him get these open looks at 3 like he did in game 1. But again, just the attention to detail defensively, taking care of the basketball, trying to move the basketball to get good looks. Like, these are things that we knew we were going to have to do to have a shot. They did it in game one, and even if the shots aren't falling, I still feel like there are things that the Magic can do better to put themselves in better positions to win these games. So, yeah, it was a long shot to win this series, but I think that's why people are frustrated, because it's like we're not doing any of the things that we need to do to be able to, ugly up these games enough to really have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing else that I really have about this about this game
Yeah.
today in this
Well,
series.
the good news is we get another chance to run it back on Monday. I mean, it's looking like a tall task. It's looking bleak, but if the Magic can win that game, series is tied up again.
Yep, and then you make it essentially a best of three
Exactly.
series. So, yeah, I mean, that's the good news about these playoffs is it's a long series, and that's also the bad news about some of these playoff series. It's a long
Right.
series. So, yeah, just got to get it where you can. Who knows? I'd love to get another game. Whether that be when Milwaukee is up 3-1, kind of when they take their foot off the gas and they know they're going to win the series. And regardless, I'd like to win one more game. If that can be game 4, that'd be awesome too. So everything at this point, man, it's kind of gravy at this point for me. I mean, you win game 1. I didn't expect us to do that. I really expected a sweep, to be honest with you. So, I've said it a lot, but it is what it is.
I mean, I totally get where you're coming from, but I don't think, the Magic can really afford to have that kind of mentality. I'm sure they don't as fans. Like,
Oh,
it's
no.
like,
I mean, if I was a player, that's completely
right.
different. You're in control of the game. But as a fan, it's a lot easier on yourself to say, we did what we
After
could.
the series, I might feel that way, but just like right now, it's like, no, they better win another game. Like, don't lose 4 straight. I know Milwaukee is a phenomenal team and everything like that, but I really would just like to see them be able to, put the things that we're talking about together, or maybe not even win another game, but like at least get another 1 or 2 like close games to where like you could really argue like, oh, we could have won that had the ball bounced, this way instead of that way. But right now, we're just
Yeah, I
getting our
don't
butts
want to
kicked.
be bored. I don't want to be bored and hopeless by the
Yeah,
third
like
quarter
I don't
again.
want to go into halftime being like, oh my god, we got to sit through another hour of this. I want to be like, all right,
Yeah.
let's bounce back. Let's let's take care of business. Like Clifford has talked about it multiple times. Like sometimes this is a fourth quarter league, sometimes the first quarter league. Right now, it seems like it's a first quarter league. So if the Magic stop getting their butts kicked in the first quarter, keep it respectable at the halftime, and then maybe we have a little bit of hope as we go into the second half. That would be phenomenal. But the last thing I want to talk about, Luke, Michael Carter-Williams and Aaron Gordon getting scratched from the lineup again today. Michael Carter-Williams with the foot, Aaron Gordon with the hamstring injury. Hashtag all my homies hate Kyle Lowry. We're talking about Aaron Gordon now. It's basically 3 weeks. It was August 5th, I believe it was. So we're 17 days out since that. And Clifford, before the game today, is talking about the fact that Aaron's today he would not be able to run up and down the floor. So and he's saying Michael Carter-Williams is even further behind him. Like the only thing he can do right now is shoot spot up jumpers. So I feel like we're not seeing either of those guys this series. I feel like they're done for the year.
And I want to talk real quick about something that has been kind of ridiculous to hear people say. People are saying their theory is Aaron Gordon isn't playing because the Magic have a trade lined up for draft night, or the Magic have a trade lined up for sometime soon after the season, blah, blah, blah. Man,
no.
I hate to break it to you, and I love a good conspiracy theory or theory as much as the next guy, but that is not the case at all, guys. I just think that it is worse than we think, or they're being just very extra cautious with the hamstring, because it is, if a guy comes back with even 85% and, strength in his hamstring, it's still very likely that he re-injures that and then he's out even longer. So I don't think it's really worth it. If you think that he can risk injury and then possibly miss the start of next season by some weird injury with his hamstring, or can't get back in the gym as soon in the off season as he would want to be, I don't think it's worth it. If he's back, that'd be awesome. But I mean, game 5 is 5 days away.
Okay, let's jump into this theory, right? You and I haven't really talked about this. We haven't really talked about it on the podcast. It's kind of been out there for months and months and months and months and months. But since now that you brought it up, let's jump into this. So what Luke is referring to, right, is basically now that the Golden State is, they have the second pick in the draft, right? Now people are starting up the talks again about Aaron Gordon and such and such and such to the Golden State Warriors for Andrew Wiggins in the second pick, right?
Yeah.
Why in the world would we take the second pick and get Andrew Wiggins back for Aaron Gordon when we already don't have Jonathan Isaac? We have no idea what's going to happen with Al-Farouq Aminu. Still don't know what's going to happen with Chuma Okeke. In my opinion, I don't see who's going to be the second pick in the draft. LaMelo Ball is probably going to go 1, right? So second pick in the draft, we're talking about Anthony Edwards, right? I just any other trade scenario, and some people are talking about like, oh well, what if we trade Vooch and Aaron and blah blah blah? Then who you trying to get back? You're trying to get back Draymond Green? Come on now.
Yeah.
Andrew. So you want Andrew Wiggins? So you want Evan Fournier on steroids? That's what you're telling me. You want 20 points a game of Andrew Wiggins, and this second pick, who nobody has any idea is going to be any good or not, right? So we're jumping from 7th AC, we're jumping right back into the lottery. Then that's what we want to do. I am so far from sold on Andrew Wiggins, it's not even funny.
Yeah, if you look at that, I mean, some of these trades that I've seen, it's been one of the trades, obviously, which is in line with what you're talking about, was Aaron Gordon and Al-Farouq Aminu for Andrew Wiggins and the number 2 pick. I know the Warriors don't say yes to that, especially if they like someone. Because essentially, then you're really trading. You're saying that you're Aaron Gordon and Andrew Wiggins. You're saying that's a wash, and then you're saying Al-Farouq Aminu for the second overall pick in the 2020 draft. It's worth it for either team to do that. They're the direction either team wants to go.
I would guarantee the Warriors are going to trade that pick because obviously they still have Steph, they still have Clay, they still have Draymond.
But that pick is so much better than Al-Farouq Aminu.
Oh no, I would completely agree with you. I would agree then like just keeping Andrew Wiggins, and drafting, the number 2 overall pick. They're still going to be a contender to win the finals next year.
Mm-hmm.
But like what people like don't seem to understand is so many other teams can put better trade packages together than Aaron Gordon and Al-Farouq Aminu or whatever it breaks out to be. Like,
and that's the thing that I was and that we've talked about is that our front for trades, from what we know, I don't think forcing Aaron Gordon to the Andrew Wiggins and the number 2 pick is something that they would necessarily be jumping at. If they want a specific go try to get it, they're going to propose it, and if the other team counters, they most likely say no. If it's something like that or whatever it may be. But my point being, I don't see a blockbuster trade for a number 2 pick in this year's draft, especially this year's draft. This is not a prime draft year. Especially, even in 2, like there's nobody there that I'm like, wow, that guy is definitely going to be a star in the league.
And the funny thing is, you see all these people during the games like, man, we need a shooter. Man, we need a shooter. Man, we need a shooter. You know what? Let's trade the Aaron Gordon. Let's get the number 2 pick for a guy in Anthony Edwards who shot like 30% in college. Let's do that. That's what we should do.
Right.
I just really don't understand it. I don't feel like this is the draft that we necessarily need to be trading up in or anything like that.
No.
So
you don't.
And the funny thing is, right after Jonathan Isaac went down, everyone's like, oh, well, we can't trade Aaron Gordon. Oh, wait, you mean Golden State's got the number 2 pick? All right, let's trade Aaron Gordon. They'll definitely take that. I don't see that happening.
No, and let's be honest with ourselves. The Magic are not going to win the NBA Finals in the next 2 years, 3 years. Why would you just trade your young piece for a guy like Andrew Wiggins and then an even younger guy? You're rebuilding again at that point. And it's like, we're not going to blow it all up. At that point, blow it all up, get rid of everybody. let's just let the new guys, the young guys, the young core, get 30 wins the next 2 years. Just not worth it in the end. And but anyway, we can focus on the offseason when it gets here, I guess. But yeah, I wanted to address that because some of y'all are talking wild.
So Wiggins is still going to have another 3 years on his contract. Let me read you these numbers. So 2020, 2021, $29 million. The following year, $31 million. 2022, 2023, $33 million. Okay? So, hey, you guys that hate Vooch and hate Evan Fournier, guess what? You're going to have an Evan Fournier on steroids that you're going to be paying $15 million more a year for, and guess what? You're still going to be paying Vucevic $22 million a year. How does that sound to you?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound great to me. So that we hope that this number 2 pick turns into the second coming of LeBron James or whoever else you want to throw in there, and is going to be able to rescue this franchise. Hey, guess what? We're also not going to have any salary cap space to build around him. Sign me right up, Luke.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You guys are catching us at a bad time. I got to tell you, you're catching us at a bad time. Okay?
No, it makes sense, man. And it's, yeah. And with that Wiggins contract, Magic fans,
they will be killing him 5 games into the season.
Yeah, and I also know Magic fans. I know there's some of you right now that saw Fultz's game today, and you're like, I don't know about him.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about him. And then if he has another bad game next game, you guys be like,
oh, he's trash.
Yo, what's the trade market looking like next year?
Yeah, no.
You guys are insane. Obviously, it's a blanket statement.
No, it's
not all of you guys. I know a lot of you guys are reasonable individuals.
Like this.
Of you that have 500 tweets a day, and I know you guys talk some wild stuff. You're not guaranteed to have a good tweet percentage at that rate. You're gonna say some ridiculous stuff. So no, it's all in good fun, but also at the same time, seriously, you don't want Andrew Wiggins.
We don't want Andrew Wiggins. So I don't know. The team definitely, we'll talk more in the offseason, but the team definitely has to explore all of their options here. But anyways, Luke, we are back at it Monday night. Hopefully the Magic are able to put it together and just at the very least, please have a more respectable game. Put some respect on our name nationally, please.
On national television again.
True. Anything else, Luke?
I'm good, man. Go Magic.
Right. Hey, I feel much better. I've got to tell you. We went pretty hard.
These are therapy sessions, right?
But thank you guys so much for listening to the Sixth Man Show, your playoff home for the Orlando Magic. We are going to keep this going after each playoff game, so come back and listen. Other than that, we'll still be bringing the episodes every single Monday. For Luke, this has been Jonathan, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya!